What if everything your grandfather ever told you about surviving in the wild was actually worth writing down? These 37 hacks might seem old-fashioned, but trust me, one of them could save your life. Let's get straight into it, counting down from number 37. Avoid poisonous plants. Many dangerous plants look almost identical to safe ones. Poison ivy, poison oak, and deadly nightshade are three of the most common threats you'll encounter across North America. Learn their identifying features before you go out there. Leaves of 3, let it be, is a classic reminder for poison ivy. When you're unsure about any plant, the rule is simple. Don't touch it, don't eat it, and don't assume. Caution costs you nothing. Misjudging a toxic plant could cost you everything. Number 36. Leave markers to find your way back. Before you take a single step deeper into unfamiliar wilderness, start leaving trail markers. Stack rocks, snap branches, arrange sticks and arrows pointing toward your origin. Place them at every fork or turn you take. This one habit, so simple it almost feels embarrassing to mention, is what separates people who walk out of the woods from people who spend 3 nights lost and panicking. Do it consistently and you'll always have a breadcrumb trail waiting for you. Number 35. Make a torch from pine sap. If night falls and you have no flashlight, sap from a pine tree can literally light your way. Pine sap is highly flammable and burns with surprising steadiness. Find a sturdy stick and wrap one end tightly with dry bark, cloth scraps, or leaves. Then coat that wrapped end generously with pine sap. Light it from an existing flame and that torch will burn long enough to get you through the dark. This isn't a parlor trick. It's a genuine off-grid light source. Number 34. Use tree bark as kindling. Not all bark is created equal. Birch and cedar bark are exceptional fire starters because they contain natural oils that ignite quickly, even when the bark is slightly damp. Peel thin strips away from the tree and shred them between your hands to increase surface area. Tuck the shredded bark beneath your tinder bundle and a single spark can become a flame in seconds. Knowing which trees produce good kindling bark can be the difference between a warm night and a freezing one. Number 33. Make a bed of boughs. Cold ground is one of the most underestimated threats in survival situations. The ground will drain your body heat faster than cold air alone. Solve this by gathering evergreen branches, pine, spruce, or fir work best, and layering them on the ground with the needles facing upward. Build this layer at least 6 inches thick. What you get is a natural mattress that insulates your body from the cold earth and gives you a far more restful night than lying on bare soil ever would. Number 32. Use ashes to treat poison ivy. If you do accidentally brush up against poison ivy, the burning and itching that follows is miserable. Here's Grandpa's old remedy. Collect cool, dry ashes from your campfire and mix them with just enough water to form a thick paste. Apply that paste directly over the affected skin. The alkaline nature of wood ash helps neutralize the irritating oils the plant leaves on your skin. It won't work like prescription cream, but out in the wild with nothing else available, it provides real relief. Number 31. Use the sun to purify water. This technique is called solar disinfection, and it works better than most people realize. Fill a clear plastic or glass bottle with water that has been filtered of visible debris. Lay it flat in direct sunlight for a minimum of 6 hours. The UV radiation from the sun kills bacteria, viruses, and parasites lurking in the water. It's completely chemical-free and requires nothing more than sunlight and a clear container. On overcast days, leave the bottle out for closer to 2 full days to ensure effectiveness. Number 30. Always carry duct tape. This one sounds too simple to be on a survival list, but duct tape has bailed people out of situations that would have ended badly otherwise. It can patch a torn tent in the rain, seal a wound temporarily, secure a makeshift splint, repair broken gear, and even help construct an emergency shelter. A small flattened roll takes almost no space in your pack and weighs practically nothing. Grandpa always said never leave home without it, and honestly, the man had a point. Number 29. No essential survival knots. A rope is only as useful as your ability to tie it properly under pressure. 3 knots everyone should know before entering the wilderness are the square knot for joining 2 ropes together, the bow line for creating a secure loop that won't tighten under load, and the clove hitch for attaching a rope to a tree or post quickly. Practice these until you can tie them in the dark, with cold hands, without thinking about it. When you need them, you won't have time to remember the steps. Number 28. Epsom salts for burn treatment. If you happen to have Epsom salts in your kit, they become an excellent treatment for minor burns. The magnesium sulfate in Epsom salts draws heat out of the burned tissue, reduces swelling, and calms the pain. Dissolve a few tablespoons in a bowl of cool water. Soak a clean cloth in that solution and apply it as a compress to the burn for 15 to 20 minutes. This won't replace professional medical treatment for serious burns, but for minor injuries out in the field, it brings real and meaningful relief. Number 27. Find or build shelter first. Here's something many people get backwards in a survival situation. They think about food first. Wrong. Shelter is your first priority. Exposure will kill you far faster than hunger. Look for natural shelter first. Rock overhangs, dense tree canopies, cave entrances. If none are available, build a simple lean-to using branches propped against a tree, layered with leaves on top for waterproofing. Pick your location carefully, avoiding low spots that flood in areas with dead branches overhead that could fall on you during wind. Number 26. Carry a multi-tool. Like duct tape, a multi-tool is one of those things you never appreciate until you desperately need it. A quality multi-tool packs pliers, a knife blade, scissors, screwdrivers, a file, and sometimes a saw into a package small enough to fit in your palm. The number of tasks this single item can handle in a wilderness emergency is staggering. Cutting cordage, opening containers, making repairs, processing food, building traps. If you own a multi-tool and leave it at home when heading outdoors, you're making a mistake. Number 25. Chew coffee grounds to relieve thirst. This one surprises people. When water is temporarily unavailable and you're beginning to feel the dryness of thirst creeping in, chewing a small amount of coffee grounds stimulates saliva production in your mouth. The bitterness and caffeine trigger that response, making your mouth feel less parched. Grandpa was clear that this is not a replacement for actual hydration. Not even close. But as a short-term measure to maintain focus while you work on finding water, it genuinely helps take the edge off. Number 24. Learn basic first aid. This isn't optional. Before you go anywhere remote, learn how to clean and bandage a wound properly, how to create a splint from sticks and strips of cloth, how to recognize the symptoms of hypothermia, heat stroke, and severe dehydration, and how to respond to each. Carry a small first aid kit with antiseptic, bandages, and pain medication. The difference between a minor injury and a life-threatening one in the wilderness often comes down entirely to what you know and whether you have even basic supplies to work with. Number 23. Treat diarrhea with flour. This one sounds strange, but has been used as a folk remedy for generations. If you're dealing with diarrhea in the wild and have flour available, mix a tablespoon of plain white flour with water to form a paste and consume it. The starch helps absorb excess fluid in the intestines, which can slow things down and reduce how often and how urgently you need to go. It's a temporary measure, not a cure, but in a survival situation where dehydration from fluid loss becomes dangerous quickly, buying yourself some time matters. Number 22. Navigate by the stars. On a clear night, the stars are one of the most reliable navigation tools you have. In the northern hemisphere, find the Big Dipper constellation and draw an imaginary line through the two outermost stars on the edge of its cup shape. That line points directly to Polaris, the North Star, which sits almost perfectly above true north. In the southern hemisphere, the Southern Cross constellation serves a similar purpose for finding south. Learn these patterns before you need them, because trying to study astronomy while lost in the dark is not an ideal approach. Number 21. Burn neem leaves to repel mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are more than just annoying in a wilderness survival context. They can transmit illness, and their constant harassment disrupts sleep that your body desperately needs. If you have access to neem leaves, burning them slowly over your campfire produces smoke that is genuinely effective at driving mosquitoes away. The compounds released by burning neem interfere with the sensory systems mosquitoes use to locate targets. Set up this smoldering defense around the perimeter of your campsite for a noticeably more comfortable night. Number 20. Identify edible plants. Knowing which plants you can safely eat is one of the most empowering survival skills you can develop. Dandelions are completely edible from root to flower. Cattails growing near water provide starchy roots, pollen, and young shoots. Clover is another safe and widely available option. When you're uncertain about a plant, use the universal edibility test. Separate it into parts, and before eating, rub a small amount on your inner wrist and wait 15 minutes, then touch it to your lip, then a tiny amount in your mouth. If no reaction occurs at any stage after several hours, it's likely safe. Number 19. Follow animal tracks to find water. Animals need water just as much as you do, and the larger ones tend to visit reliable water sources regularly. Look for tracks from deer, elk, or other large animals and follow them, especially if the trails converge or lead consistently downhill. Running water almost always lies at lower elevations. Also watch for signs like disturbed vegetation, fresh droppings near a path, or heavily worn ground suggesting repeated travel. These natural clues are essentially a living map pointing you toward hydration. Number 18. Use a tin can as a portable stove. An empty tin can is an incredibly versatile survival tool. Remove both lids, then punch a series of small holes around the bottom edge to allow airflow. Load small sticks or twigs inside and light them. The tin can acts as a concentrated heat chamber, making your fire more efficient than an open flame for cooking. You can rest a small pot or pan across the top or cook food directly on skewers inserted through the open top. It's lightweight, disposable, and surprisingly effective. Number 17. Create a raft from logs. If you need to cross a river, lake, or flood zone and swimming isn't a safe option, a log raft can get you across. Gather logs of similar size from fallen trees, line them up side by side, and lash them together with vines, strips of bark, or paracord. Add a second layer of smaller logs across the first at right angles and secure those tightly as well. Test the buoyancy with your weight before committing to open water. Use a long pole to push off the bottom in shallows and paddle with a flat piece of wood in deeper sections. Number 16. Use mud as sunblock. Prolonged sun exposure during a wilderness survival scenario can leave you with painful sunburn, increased dehydration through skin damage, and reduced ability to function. If you have no sunscreen, thick mud applied generously over exposed skin creates a physical barrier against UV rays. Let it dry in place for better adhesion. Reapply when it flakes off or after any water exposure. It's not elegant and it won't score you any style points, but protecting your skin from the sun is a legitimate survival priority that many people overlook. Number 15. Improvise fishing gear. Finding protein in the wild is easier near water. Cut a sturdy green branch for a rod, then fashion a line from braided grass, vines, or any paracord you have. For a hook, sharpen a small bone fragment, a thorn, or a bent piece of wire into a curved point. Bait it with earthworms, insects, or small bits of edible plant matter. Cast the line into calm water near the bank, near submerged logs, or where the water deepens. Patience is the main requirement here. Fish will bite if you give them time. Number 14. Rub garlic or onion on skin to repel insects. Both garlic and raw onion contain sulfur compounds that insects find genuinely unpleasant. If you're being swarmed by flies and mosquitoes and have no commercial repellent, crush a garlic clove or slice an onion and rub the juice directly onto your exposed skin. The smell to you is nothing compared to the repellent effect on insects. Reapply after sweating or washing. It won't create an impenetrable force field, but it measurably reduces the number of insects landing on you. Number 13. Build a fire in any weather. Wet weather is when you most desperately need fire and when it's hardest to start one. The secret is finding dry tinder before you try anything else. Look beneath dense undergrowth, under rock overhangs, inside hollow logs, or under thick leaf canopy where rain doesn't penetrate. Birch bark and resin, rich wood from conifer trees, both ignite even when damp. Build a windbreak from larger logs or rocks before attempting to light your fire. Start with the smallest possible tinder, coax it into a flame, then feed it gradually upward to larger pieces. Number 12. Use sap as an adhesive. Beyond its antiseptic properties, pine sap is also a surprisingly effective natural glue. When collected fresh and warmed slightly over heat, it becomes liquid and can be applied between two surfaces. As it cools and hardens, it forms a durable bond. This has practical applications in the wild for repairing cracked tool handles, sealing containers, attaching arrowheads or knife blades to shafts, or patching small tears in gear. It's one of the most multi-purpose substances you can find growing on a tree. Number 11. Use a slingshot for hunting. A slingshot is quiet, light to carry, and devastatingly effective against small game when used by someone with practice. Dense stones or metal pellets are ideal ammunition. The quiet operation means you won't scare off nearby animals the way a firearm would. Small birds, rabbits, and squirrels are realistic targets for someone reasonably skilled. The key word is practice. If you're planning to rely on a slingshot for food in a survival scenario, start learning now, not when your stomach is growling and your hands are cold and shaking. Number 10. Practice silent walking. Whether you're trying to approach game for hunting or avoid detection by something you'd rather not encounter, the ability to move quietly through the forest is genuinely valuable. Step onto the outer edge of your foot and roll inward slowly with each step. Bend your knees slightly to absorb impact rather than landing hard. Avoid dry leaves and loose gravel when you can. Move slowly and deliberately. Choose your foot placements with intention. This is a skill that improves dramatically with deliberate practice. Number 9. Carry a sharp knife. A sharp knife is arguably the single most important physical tool in wilderness survival. It helps you process food, cut rope, carve tools, split kindling, build shelter components, and perform basic first aid tasks. Grandpa's rule was simple: if it isn't sharp, it isn't a knife. A dull blade requires excessive force, which makes it unpredictable and dangerous. Keep a whetstone in your kit and sharpen your blade regularly. After each use, dry it thoroughly to prevent rust. A well-maintained sharp knife will outlast almost any other gear you own. Number 8. Use leaves for insulation. Leaves trap air in the same way synthetic insulation materials do, and they're completely free and available throughout most forest environments. Pack dry leaves densely between your outer clothing layers and your body to retain heat during cold nights. For your shelter, pile leaves thickly on the roof and pack them against the walls. The drier the leaves, the better they insulate. This is one of those hacks that sounds too simple to work well until you're actually out there in the cold and you realize just how effective natural insulation really is. Number 7. Navigate using moss. Moss grows in relationship to sunlight and moisture. In the northern hemisphere, trees and rocks typically have more moss growth on their north-facing sides because those surfaces receive less direct sun and stay more damp. This gives you a rough directional indicator when you have no compass. The key word is rough. Always check multiple trees before drawing any conclusions and combine this observation with other cues like where the sun rises and sets. It's an imperfect tool, but combined with other natural indicators, it becomes genuinely useful. Number 6. Line your match container with sandpaper. A simple preparedness trick that costs nothing but could be critical. Cut a piece of sandpaper and glue, or tape it inside the lid or bottom of whatever waterproof container you store your matches in. This gives you a reliable striking surface that travels with your matches wherever they go. Even if the box gets wet or the original striking strip becomes useless, that internal sandpaper patch means you can always ignite your matches. It takes 30 seconds to set up and lasts indefinitely. Number 5. Create a smoke signal. If you need to communicate your location to rescue teams or passing aircraft, a visible smoke signal can be seen from miles away. Build a fire using dry wood and get it burning well first. Then add green leaves, damp grass, or fresh pine needles to generate thick white smoke. To send deliberate signals, cover the fire briefly with a blanket or jacket and release it in timed intervals to create distinct smoke puffs. 3 puffs is a universally recognized distress signal. Daylight hours are when smoke signals are most visible, so start this process as early in the day as possible. Number 4. Predict weather through animal behavior. Nature is constantly broadcasting weather information if you know how to read it. Birds flying lower than usual and clustering together often indicates dropping air pressure ahead of a storm. Bees and ants rushing back to their nests signals incoming rain. Frogs becoming more vocal than usual can mean wet weather is approaching. Cattle lying down frequently is another old indicator of impending storms. None of these signs is perfectly reliable alone, but when several of them appear together, take them seriously. Wild creatures have been reading atmospheric changes far longer than we've had weather apps. Number 3. Brew wild coffee from natural ingredients. Morale matters in survival situations more than people tend to acknowledge. The routine of a hot morning drink, even a substitute, does something real for your mental state. Dandelion roots, acorns, and chicory roots can all be roasted over a fire until dark and fragrant, then ground coarsely and boiled in water, then strained. The result is a warming, slightly bitter beverage that won't replace actual coffee, but will absolutely lift your spirits and give you a reason to look forward to morning. That psychological boost should not be underestimated when things are hard. Number 2. Predict weather and make a potato battery. Yes, this sounds like a science class experiment, but it genuinely works. Potatoes contain natural electrolytes that can facilitate a small electrical current when 2 different metals are inserted into them. Push a copper coin or piece of copper wire into one side and a galvanized zinc nail into the other. Connect the metal ends to a small device using wire. The current generated is tiny but real, enough to power a small LED or compass in a pinch. It's not going to charge your phone, but in the right circumstances, that little bit of power could matter. Number 1. Use pine sap as antiseptic. Here it is, the top of Grandpa's list, and it earns that spot because infection is one of the most dangerous and overlooked threats in wilderness survival. A small cut that becomes infected can turn into a serious crisis within days. Pine sap contains genuine antibacterial and antifungal compounds. Collect fresh sap directly from a wound or scar on a pine tree. Those spots where the tree oozes resin naturally, apply it generously over any cut, scrape, or insect bite. The sap disinfects the wound and simultaneously seals it under a protective coating, keeping out contamination until you can get proper medical care. Grandpa knew this one worked because he used it himself, and honestly, that might be the best recommendation any survival hack could have. Share this with someone who spends time outdoors, because the best time to learn this stuff is well before you ever need it. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.